So I was looking through the latest Harvard Business Review, and I saw this one statistic that really just stopped me in my tracks.
Oh, yeah. What was it?
It said 92% of Fortune 1000 companies still use Porter's five forces, a framework from 1979.
Right.
And it just made me wonder, are we all using a map that doesn't really match the territory anymore?
That's a fair question. But I don't think the map is the problem. It's how people use it. They treat it like a static painting they hang on the wall.
A snapshot.
Exactly, a snapshot. But in the digital world, you need the whole movie. We have to stop treating Porter as just a checklist. It's a dynamic system.
Okay, but let me play devil's advocate for a second. If 92% of the biggest companies are using it, I mean, surely it still works. Why reinvent the wheel?
Because the wheel is spinning so much faster now. Traditionally, you'd list out the five forces: rivalry, new entrants, suppliers, buyers, and substitutes.
And you just mark them high, medium, or low,
Right.
and then file the report away.
You got it. But today, those forces are all hyper-connected. If rivalry spikes, it's not just about price wars anymore. It triggers this wave of innovation.
And that innovation immediately creates new substitutes.
Yes. So a low threat of substitutes today becomes high tomorrow, all because you were too busy watching your direct competitors. You miss the chain reaction.
This sounds like the whole platform shift, which I feel like really breaks the old model.
It absolutely does.
The classic advice is keep barriers to entry high. But then you look at a company like Apple. They built the App Store and basically lowered the barriers for developers.
They did, but they did it to build a walled garden.
Yeah.
And this is where applying the framework in a dynamic way gets really brilliant.
Okay.
Apple didn't just react to buyer power. They reshaped it. They built this whole ecosystem, the hardware, the software, the services, and that just massively increased the switching costs for you and me.
So that's the classic network effect, isn't it? The more people use an iPhone, the more developers build for it, and the harder it is for a new operating system to even get a foot in the door.
Precisely. They turned barriers to entry into a weapon against competitors while, lowering it for their partners. We saw a similar thing in the music industry.
With streaming.
Right. Streaming completely shifted the substitute from a physical CD to digital access. And that gave buyers, well, almost infinite choice.
Which you'd think would make buyer power just explode.
You would. But the record labels, the suppliers, they held on to their leverage because they owned the unique content, the IP.
The format changed, but the ownership didn't.
A nuance that a static analysis would almost always miss.
Okay, so to track all of these moving parts, you can't just rely on a quarterly meeting. You need, real-time data. And honestly, if you're trying to integrate that kind of intelligence or AI into your workflow, you need the right help.
You definitely do. And that is where EmberSoak comes in. Whether you need help with AI training, automation, or software development, they help figure out where intelligent agents can make the most impact for your business.
Or even for your personal life.
Absolutely. It's all about building a system that actually works for you. You can check them out at embersilk.com.
So we have the tools, but let's talk about the world outside the company. I feel like so many modern failures happen because leaders are just too focused on their product and not the environment.
The e-scooter boom is a perfect case study for this. Companies like Xiaomi or Bird.
Right. On paper, it looked great. Huge demand. The barrier for new entrants was pretty low.
But they completely ignored the pestle factors.
Yeah.
Specifically the P and the political and legal.
The regulations.
Exactly. A static analysis says, go, launch. A dynamic analysis stops and asks, wait, what happens if the city council bans these on sidewalks next week?
And when those regulations did shift, the entire market just collapsed in some cities.
It's the difference between seeing a blue ocean and realizing it's actually a protected marine reserve where you're not allowed to fish.
That's a great way to put it.
And that's really the key takeaway here. The most successful leaders today don't just survive these forces, they actively shape them.
They gain agency.
Yes. Once you understand the dynamics, you stop being a victim of the market and you start participating in its evolution. You get to direct the scene instead of just watching it.
I want to leave our listeners with one final thought to chew on. We're talking about modernizing Porter for humans, but what about AI? If AI agents start their own companies, will Porter's forces even apply to them?
Or do algorithms compete in a way we don't even have a framework for yet? That is a fascinating frontier.
Something to think about. If you enjoyed this deep dive, please subscribe to the show. Hey, leave us a 5-star review if you can. It really does help get the word out. Thanks for tuning in.